Far out in the uncharted backwaters of the unfashionable end of the western spiral arm of the galaxy lies a small, unregarded yellow sun. Orbiting this at a distance of roughly 92 million miles is an utterly insignificant little blue-green planet whose ape-descended life forms are so amazingly primitive that two of them still think doing a podcast called Digital Watches are a pretty neat idea is a pretty neat idea. These podcasters have, or rather had, a problem, which was this. Actually, this is the solution.
Two men, two amazingly primitive men, thought this was a pretty neat idea. They were dreamers, thinkers, speculative philosophers, or as their wives would have it, idiots.
Hey, Brian, what's this?
Hey, Jeff. Well, this is our tribute to Star Trek.
Okay. Why are we doing Star Trek?
Oh, well, as you recall, we did a question kind of approach to whether or not the fans, or fanatics, as we like to call ourselves,
Right.
Really wanted more content from some of their original shows.
Right.
And we went through an entire list of shows that you and I had both experienced and not experienced during our lifetime. And we specifically left Star Trek off that list.
Yes.
Because there were so many iterations and so much information, we thought perhaps it in itself could provide us with an entire podcast. So that's what we're here to do.
Right. It also has the most hot buttons.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely.
It didn't ruin anybody's day to have a remake or a spin-off done of Knight Rider. However,
No.
some of these Star Treks have really irked people the wrong way sometimes.
Oh, yeah. And I have a new understanding that I'm going to share again. I think I may have brought this up a little bit before, but I do have a problem. We're going to get to that pretty quick. And it's unique for me because, as you know, I'm a Star Trek fan.
Yep.
No doubts about that. Fanatic, maybe even. And I've been pursuing a cast photo, for one, of the Voyager staff.
Right.
For so many years that we can't even figure out when it started.
Right.
And I'm still short one signature.
Yes.
And I hope I can get that one signature before Robert Beltran passes away.
Yeah.
Because he's not been easy for me to get to and to find. But we're here to talk about Star Trek. And the first thing that I wanted to say about that was that the original Star Trek,
yes,
came out in 1966.
Right.
And ran until 1969.
A whopping 3 years.
Mm-hmm. And I, of course, in 1966 was a mere 5 years old.
Okay. I was 2.
There you go. There you go. So I cannot say that I would have experienced the original series in its original form.
Right.
In fact, I was thinking back on it, and I was trying to remember and recall, but of course I couldn't. So being the old person I am, I went to Google.
Okay.
And I asked the question. So my experience with Star Trek corresponded specifically in the same time frame, I believe, as our experience with Douglas Adams. I would have been watching the original series in its rebroadcast form, and I figured it out. It had to be around 1976 when I was watching that. And what I discovered and what I recalled, of course, was I was living in Morristown, New Jersey, and I know you've been to the house that I lived in. and I was living up on the third floor. And on that third floor, at some point it was either 76, 77, somewhere in there, I managed to find an old console, black and white television.
Okay.
That weighed about 400 pounds. And I drug that sucker all the way up to the third floor room. It had the built-in speakers and the tuner and,
Yeah.
I was able to watch Star Trek on that TV in UHF.
Okay. Yeah.
So on that black and white
Okay.
TV, on channel 48,
All right.
which is WKBS TV in Philadelphia, I was able to watch all of the original series of Star Trek in rerun.
Okay.
Of course, it was a huge console TV, and it was in black and white.
Right.
And that was back in, I believe it's 78, 79 or so. At 79, they actually started showing it on channel 17, which was a different UHF channel.
Yes.
Out of Philadelphia. Can you remember when TV channels were in numbers?
Right.
I don't even think kids today can understand any of that.
And it only went up to 83.
Mm-hmm. That was my experience. I would come home from school and I would go up to my room and I'd be able to watch all kinds of different television, including PBS, which is where you and I both experienced that guy in his pajamas for the first time.
Right. Right.
So my experience then approximately started in 78, 79. Which was many years, actually, I guess that would be 10 years after Star Trek original series was recorded.
Right. My earliest Star Trek remembrances weren't really of watching the show. So I used to watch it. I mean, I knew it existed. I knew who the characters were, but I wasn't an avid watcher, can't miss, knew what day and time it came on and what channel. If it was on, I would watch it. It was never, that must-see TV like they say today. But back in 1976, I was about in 6th grade. So somewhere in that time period, my dad used to cut all of our hair. And I've got very straight hair. And I had, bowl cut of all bowl cut type of things. But I also thought it was really cool to have long sideburns, which wasn't hair on my face growing sideburns. It was just let my hair grow long in front of my ears. And then a couple of kids in my class would call me Spock.
Oh,
because I had these straight bangs, sideburns that came down over my ears. It was really dark hair. And at the beginning, I remember being offended because it wasn't said with joy in their heart.
Right.
But after I thought about it for a while, I'm like, hey, I'll take it. I'll be Spock. That's perfectly fine.
Work. Yeah, that'll work. Isn't that funny? But what I do recall, though, is I don't think back then anyway, I don't remember that they would actually show the show in any sequence. Nowadays, of course, we're all used to the streaming service, so we can always watch it in consecutive order or the order that they want you to watch it in.
Right.
I don't recall that they did that on these television programs that I saw. So I saw them random times and random shows. But I don't remember saying, oh, darn, I've seen that one before.
Right.
And even if I did, I'd watch it again. So,
yeah.
But what I do think is interesting, and we talked a little bit about this, you and I did anyway, the animated series came out in 1973.
Yes.
And again, too young for me to recall ever watching that in its original form. And in fact, I don't know that I remember watching it when I was younger. I won't say as a kid, because we're talking, 76 or so. So I was in my teens, But I must have seen it, and it must have been part of like Sunday morning television, Sunday cartoons or stuff that we used to watch all the time.
I believe they said it was Saturday morning TV.
Saturday morning, yeah, Saturday morning cartoons. So I probably saw it on those Saturday morning cartoons downstairs on the regular color TV.
It was really only a few years ago that I don't want to say that I heard of it, because when I was watching a show called The Center Seat, which is a documentary on all of Star Trek, which is streaming in multiple places for free. So if you want to see it, it's definitely worth a watch. But they did an episode on the animated series. And my first reaction was, there was an animated series? And my second reaction was, yeah, I guess I do kind of remember it existed, even though I had never seen an episode.
Right.
And what I found fascinating about the animated series from this Center Seat program is that they got the original cast to do the voices. They got the original writers to write it. And they said, don't write this like it's a Saturday morning cartoon.
Right.
Write it like it's a Star Trek episode.
Right.
Only now there are no budget constraints on the aliens you want to produce or the planets you want to go to.
Right.
Because it's all animated. There is no increase or decrease in cost if you want to have a pink planet versus a place out in the West Desert. So I thought that was interesting.
Right.
What I didn't realize is there was a full season for 1973, and 1974, the second season, was really abbreviated, only like 6 episodes. And those 6 episodes in season 2 were written for children.
Oh, okay. And yeah, I think you mentioned that once before. I don't know if it was on the show or not, but as you know, I started rewatching the series from the beginning.
Right.
And for whatever reason, I skipped right over the animated series. And then I went back to it, and I don't believe I've gotten through the whole first season of the animated series. So I haven't seen those additional 6 episodes for the second season. And there was a total of 22 episodes made for the animated series. So I will be interested in watching all of them. But at this point, I believe I'm probably halfway through the first season of the animated series. So like you, I wasn't even really that much aware that it existed,
Right.
So in terms of having the question of whether we anticipated or were excited about it, no.
No. It came and went. I was in 4th or 5th grade when it showed up, and having not seen the original, it wasn't, I can't wait for the new cartoon. Right.
But as to our original question about how excited things were for us when we heard things were happening, the Next Generation, of course, was a whole nother experience.
Absolutely.
That was in 1987 that it came out. 7 years of the Next Generation, and it had 178 episodes, which is kind of their gold standard, if you will, for seasons, etc. I was very much excited to start watching that when it came out. I'm sure my recollection is that I would have tried to watch those when they came out in their original airing, and whenever I could, I would rewatch them. So in terms of the shows that I have watched now in the series, I watched the original series, I've watched The Next Generation, I've watched Deep Space Nine, and I've watched Voyager almost all the way to the end. I'm in the last season of Voyager in terms of watching all of the shows in relative consecutive order.
Right.
So my experience with Next Generation, it's funny because until I sat down and started watching all of the shows from their original source, I told you that I forgive them for all of their sins because I allow each series to exist in its own universe.
Okay.
Now, they produced them with an understanding that the Next Gen, Deep Space Nine, and Voyager were all within the same universe.
Right.
Even within the same timeline.
Right.
So even though they did have time-shifting episodes, they all had their same timeline. So they were supposed to be consecutive and concurrent events for all of those series shows.
So in case people don't know, you do want to say that Star Trek The Next Generation that ran from 87 to 94 is great, but Deep Space Nine started in 93, before Next Generation ended. And then it did a 7-season run. And then Star Trek Voyager started in 1995 after The Next Generation, but during Deep Space Nine. So Deep Space Nine was sort of a bridge between The Next Generation and Voyager.
Correct. And Voyager, of course, was outside of the Alpha Quadrant.
Yes.
Being in the Delta Quadrant, they had very little interaction with understanding what was going on. So they were allowed to ignore all the events that were happening.
Right.
In fact, the Deep Space Nine storyline is what brings Voyager to its interaction that takes it to the Delta Quadrant. So in Deep Space Nine, the Maquis are recognized, and of course that's who Voyager was going after.
Right.
And that's how the two crews, the Voyager crew and the Maquis crew, became one crew. And then they spent all those years in the Delta Quadrant trying to get back.
Right.
It's now time to talk about my problem.
Okay.
And I want to leave the original series, the animated series, Next Generation, Deep Space Nine, and Voyager, those 5 programs together as a thrust from one timeline.
Right.
Okay. And here's the problem. And I think I may have mentioned this before. I can't get over the final episode of the original series.
Okay.
It is sticking in my craw, as they say.
And just for all of you out there, I do not believe I have ever heard you say one negative word about Star Trek in any form.
You're right. And so this is it's a much more recent development for me. And that's why I bring it up. And part of it was because I decided to go on this journey. And to super summarize the final episode of the original series, Captain Kirk is possessed by a female character who was denied the opportunity to become a captain because she was female.
Okay.
And it's interesting. The acting is unique. Obviously, you see William Shatner acting in a feminine way, as they described it or displayed it back in 1969. But what really bothers me, of course, is that was the line that even Desilu didn't feel they could cross. And that kind of bothers me. I mean, when you think about the fact that Lucille Ball was such a powerful character, but she was so far behind the scenes that nobody in, I guess, our known universe in 1969 would have recognized her power, her influence. But she ran Desilu Studios. I mean, the half black, half white people that were having their race war, I mean, they did everything with races. They made it clear that everybody was equal when it came to race.
Yes.
But the line they couldn't cross was the male-female line.
Right.
And that bothers me.
Yeah.
I kind of wish that I could go back and not watch that episode so that I could feel better about everything going forward. And of course, they don't really cross the line of the captaincy until they get to Voyager, you know, and you have a female captain. And
that almost didn't happen, too.
Right. Yes, you're right. You're right. So that's why I want to group those 5 series together and say that they're in their own timeline. Because everything outside of those 5, when we go beyond there, and let me just kind of point them out so we all know, all right? After Voyager, we had Enterprise, which had 4 seasons, and it's a prequel, if we don't know, but it's a prequel back into the time before Kirk.
Right.
It was the original 1701 vehicle.
So can I stop you for a second just because?
Absolutely.
The original Enterprise from Star Trek Enterprise is NX-01.
Oh man, Jeff, you're right. I'm glad you caught me on that one.
Yeah.
One of the things I think we've talked about before is that I just love the way they created the spaces on that Enterprise because they're more utilitarian. They have to duck through the passageways.
Right.
It's just smaller physical space.
Yes.
But here again, you can argue that this one takes us outside of the timeline in ways that people are pretty well offended by.
Yes. Well, before we go into that,
uh-huh.
Do you remember the first thing people were offended by? There were actually two things.
In Enterprise?
There were two things that people were upset with. One of them I agreed with. The other one I went the opposite way, and I thought, good for them.
Okay. First
one was, the first year they released it without the words Star Trek.
Oh, right.
For some reason, they didn't have to pay the Star Trek people if they just called it Enterprise.
Right.
And, whoa, that didn't go well for them.
Mm-hmm.
Second thing is, it is the first Star Trek show that had words in the theme.
Yes. And I absolutely love the theme song
yes.
of that show. It is on one of my favorite playlists. I mean, it's. I love that song. It is.
I feel the same way.
Good song.
And I think it's funny that they didn't want to pay Rod Stewart, so they had somebody re-record it.
But oh man, I'm telling you, it's one of the best songs.
Diane Warren, she can write a tune.
Mm-hmm. Oh man, awesome song. But you're right. And the other thing that I find difficult, and again, this is where I say it's a different universe. So I'm going to allow this. But the characters that they have in there, the creatures, the races that they meet, some are consistent with the story and the original timeline story. Some exist only in that time frame or on that show, which is what kind of bothers me. Because they're not mentioned in the future. They don't exist. And I know the whole thing's a time shift thing. So there's some area where you can say, yeah, well, but, and allow it to exist within the same time frame. But I rather like, and I know I've told you this, that I rather like the idea that was proposed to me. And it's a fan fiction idea, but basically they say, the fan fiction says that Enterprise, or that whole series Enterprise, is actually just a holodeck series written by Riker.
So Riker wrote a program for the holodeck about the Enterprise's beginning, and that's what the show is.
Right.
I like it. I like
it. And I kind of like it too, especially when you consider the fact that the second officer is a Vulcan.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, we see that in the original episodes. It was supposed to be a unique thing happening in the original series that a Vulcan was part of Starfleet.
Right.
And here we have another Vulcan in part of Starfleet. And we're like, wait a minute. Then Spock was not unique.
Right.
And that just doesn't fit. So that takes me out of the universe.
Yes.
So that was 4 seasons, 98 episodes, and really enjoyable on the level that it was a Star Trek show and I liked it. So the next series...
Before you go on that, let me put a little bit of time and place of me and what I have seen and watched and enjoyed of these shows. Star Trek Next Generation came out during my last semester of college. I was not watching Star Trek my last semester of college. And then after college, jobs, this, that, I did very little of that TV watching. I knew it existed, but it wasn't must-see. So like the original, most of my Next Generation watching was after it had already aired once. Star Trek Deep Space Nine, however, and I may have mentioned this before on our program here, was broadcast on our Channel 9, WGN TV. The Next Generation, Voyager were they were on a UHF station.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that's the funny, try to get the dial, everything's very staticky. You can get it or not get it. I could not get many UHF stations. So Star Trek Deep Space Nine, came on a VHF station. And it also aired on a Sunday when I was home because I didn't work a lot of Sundays. So I watched the hell out of Deep Space Nine. I did watch a lot of Voyager. I think I've even told you that some of my favorite Star Trek episodes ever end up being Voyager episodes because they took away the guardrails on them and they let them just do what they wanted because it was WPWR and the Paramount Network type of thing was in its infancy, and they tried to launch it with this show and didn't really go how they planned. But man, when they stopped getting the oversight and people criticizing every little word they wrote some great episodes.
Right.
I was excited for Enterprise and watched as much Enterprise as I could, but I kind of fell away from it. I don't know what happened in my life, but primetime TV watching with the job I had was not something that could be done.
Right. Oh, 100%. Yep.
So now, what series do you want to talk about next?
Okay, so the next series is Discovery.
Do you want to do the fan fiction one?
The fan fiction one? I'm not really familiar at all with it. I haven't not watched any of it.
Star Trek Continues is an 11-episode YouTube show that aired between 2013 and 2017. And I guess the only reason I want to mention it is that it ran through 2017, which coincidentally is when Paramount said, oh, there is an interest in Star Trek. Right. And they started Discovery.
Yeah, exactly.
So Star Trek Continues is pure fan fiction. I've seen about half of them. It is an homage to the original Star Trek.
Right.
It's LARPing. They are out there pretending to be these same characters, and they're trying to keep the mannerisms and do the episodes, and they do a really good job. In fact, Scotty is played by his son. So there is a Doohan that is playing the engineer for Star Trek Continues. Right. So I do want to put that it did exist. Is it the best show you've ever seen? No. It's a bunch of people that love Star Trek saying, hey, let's make a Star Trek show because there's nothing else on TV.
Right.
I mean, it was 2005 to 2013. That's a big blank. You've seen all the reruns.
Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yep.
So I do want to mention it existed. Now we can jump to Discovery.
Yes, to Discovery. And jump to is a good phrase. Okay, so Discovery had 5 seasons, 65 episodes. And again, in and of itself, I really enjoyed it. But it's clear from the outset that it is a different, well, I'm going to even say universe, okay?
Yeah.
Because if you recall in the movies now, you recall a scene in the movie where Spock, to save the universe, has to take red matter through to some point and blah, blah, blah. So he shows up in a ship and there's some other huge drilling ship that's trying to kill everybody, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, so Spock meets Spock. Right? So that is clearly a unique arrangement where he goes from one universe to another. Okay.
Yes.
And Discovery, the main character of Discovery, is Spock's half-sister.
Right.
And there's no mention of any kind anywhere in any of the original series through Enterprise that Spock had a half-sister.
Right.
They make it sound like, oh, no, it was a secret, so nobody was allowed to know.
Too many of those in that show.
Oh, yeah. That's the whole premise of that show. Their spore drive is a unique drive that allows them to travel through the mycelial network.
Right.
And pop from one spot to another in the universe. They have their own unique war with the Klingons. And it's definitely a unique war. They try to explain away with eugenics the shape of the Klingons' heads and stuff.
Yep.
Interesting things. I mean, it was definitely trying to be parallel. But what is clearly obvious is the social mores, and I have no problem with anything that happened in Discovery. So don't take that the wrong way. But the social mores, the fact that women are allowed to have power, and that
and that was pre-Star Trek. Right.
That was pre-Star Trek.
Giorgio.
Pre-original Star Trek.
Yeah.
Because it was back in the days of Pike. And if we were to believe the original and kind of want to be iconic, women could never have reached that level at that time.
So just to do a clarification, I want to ask a question that may or may not have an answer. Well, it'll have an answer, but whether you will remember the answer. During the show of the last episode of the original Star Trek, where the woman was upset because she was denied becoming a captain because she was a woman, did you ever hear an admiral or any in the chain of command above her tell her that was the reason, or could that just be the reason she has imagined?
No, I don't think it's as ambiguous as that. No, I think it's pretty clear that they felt at that time, at least at the time that she was trying to apply to become a captain, which would have been years prior to the event where she takes over his body, they weren't allowing women to those levels.
Okay, so if there was an admiral that said that's not allowed, that would then become canon. But if it was, she's attaching a reason, so it has to be like, I'm trying to make Discovery not have this glaring error. If there was ambiguity and it was just her saying, because I am a woman and you said I can't be captain, therefore it's because I'm a woman.
Right.
Because I haven't seen that episode enough to know if there is a hard, fast rule that's stated, and it isn't just because she's a woman, it was just because she was her.
No, right. The answer to that would be no, because if you watch the episode, they make a pretty big deal about when the captain is possessed by the female spirit or whatever, he becomes emotional. And they make a big deal about how, you're being so emotional, James, or, what's going on? Hey, you're so emotional. How can you be a captain and be emotional? I mean, so they don't specifically say you're acting like a woman, cut it out. But it's pretty clear that that's what they're saying.
That women are too emotional for places of authority.
Right, exactly. So
Amen.
I mean, even then, right. So again, not a proponent of believing that everything has to fall within the same frame for it to be good, okay?
Right.
That is not at all the case, because Discovery has some of my absolute favorite actors and actresses in the world. I mean, I don't know, I think we may have talked about her before, but Tig, and I don't know if she has a last name or a first name or whatever.
Nataro.
Okay. She is one of my favorite people. I wish I knew her because she's so fantastic. In the show that she did prior, that I'd seen her in prior to that, I loved her acting style. I loved her emotional approach. She's just a fantastic actress, if you ask me. Very comedic, understands comedy styling, and she gets to me emotionally faster than anybody I know on TV. And I'm not even sure why, but I connect with her. So being able to enjoy her and Tilly and some of the other actors and actresses, and the fact that they have homosexual relationships in the program, not a problem, not an issue. But again, if you're looking at the time frame and the timeline, they had to do what they ultimately did do in that show, which is once they absorbed all that super intelligence and their core computer became smarter than anything alive, they had to spit them out into the future, because there was no place in the timeline where they could reappear between, the end days of Voyager and the beginning days of Star Trek and exist. It just couldn't exist.
Right.
So they had to spit them out into this other future. And even the other future became a completely different universe once they got there.
Yes.
So I really enjoyed watching Discovery and enjoyed actors and actresses within that show. So I really did look forward to seeing that. Coincidentally, during that series, they also did what's called short treks. Did you see any of those?
I have not seen a single one.
Right. Well, there's 10 episodes of the short treks, and I've seen quite a few of them, and they're fun because they're like little Easter eggs that they just kind of polish up and stick in there. And I really do enjoy them. Sequentially, next we have Picard.
Okay.
And for the moment, I'm going to skip over Picard, okay?
All right.
Good show, 3 seasons, 30 episodes, and it's encapsulated. The next one, we've had a lot of discussions, you and I at least, Lower Decks.
Right.
That was at the same time as Picard. The new episodes are coming out. Another season, so that'll be season 6. So there are 50 episodes of Lower Deck. In my opinion, some of the best Star Trek on TV. Because it just does exactly what you would hope it does. It pokes fun of itself. I can't.
That's great in an animated show like Lower Decks, where the purpose of the show is to poke fun at itself. However, in the 3rd season of Picard, when it was poking fun at itself, I found that to be grating.
Well, like I said,
we'll get to that when we talk about Picard.
Picard for just a moment. Yeah, there's things. So, Lower Decks has done some of the best stuff ever, in my opinion. They interact with the Guardian of Forever. I mean, good grief. The crossover episode. I mean, that's all I can say. It's phenomenal TV. It really, really is. I really obviously have enjoyed that. I will never stop laughing at, she's a salt vampire. I just can't stop when I see that, and it's just really, really good. Some brilliant minds in that show.
I've seen a couple seasons of it, but not having Paramount Plus, all of this new stuff is very limited in my exposure.
Right. Then there's Prodigy, and I'm sure, I don't know if you have any familiarity at all with Prodigy. There's 40 episodes, 2 seasons. None. I'll just give you a very super quick thing. Spaceship ends up in the future, abandoned by itself. I think it's 5 kids find it in this dystopia, get onto the ship, and Kate Mulgrew as Janeway comes back as a holographic character to help the kids understand how to use the vehicle and how to become Star Trek people. There's, like I said, there's like 5 or 6 little kids in it, and they're battling their father and some, I don't know. So it's interesting. It's supposed to be a kids show, and it certainly has some aspects of it that are childlike in its nature.
Is it animated or is it live action?
Nope, it's an animated series.
Okay.
Which, by the way, is a great way to bring back characters that have aged and wouldn't look as well as if they came back as live characters.
Yeah.
We're still waiting, aren't we? Then that was 2024. And during that, in 2022, they started Strange New Worlds.
Yep.
Again, it's really good. It's the Pike story. And I love the way they set it up where, well, if you haven't seen it, watch it. But Pike gets a glimpse of what his future is. And if you know Pike's story, when we see Pike in the original series, you see him burnt to a crisp and in some kind of a wheelchair where all he can do is blink a light.
Yeah.
So at the beginning of the Strange New World series, Pike sees this future and is appalled. And it's good TV. I mean, it really is. So I'm also looking forward to another season of Strange New Worlds is coming out very soon. And then, Starfleet Academy. Oh, Starfleet Academy.
Again, never seen an episode.
So, yep, we have to talk about Starfleet Academy.
Okay.
And so I took a break from watching Voyager when we decided we were going to record this, and I wanted to make sure I had some experience with Starfleet Academy. I was going to let it kind of roll out and catch up later.
Okay.
But I went ahead and watched some of it.
Okay.
I've seen 5 of the 10 episodes that are currently out there. They've just recently announced that the second season will be released. And, yeah.
That good, huh?
I mean, Holly Hunter plays the lead female, and she has a second in command who's a cross between a Jemadar and a Klingon.
Okay.
And so far, I've seen 5 episodes, and the only thing the second officer can do is yell at people. I mean, just yell at people.
Okay.
I think in the 5th episode, she tries to be a little less reactive, but so far all she's done is yell at people.
Okay.
It thinks too much of itself so far. I mean, it's just like too much. Holly Hunter, I've heard interesting things about her, but she's on a spaceship, which is perfectly fine. She's always barefoot.
Okay.
Because she believes, I think in real life, she's a barefoot person. So she wears these little like top things on the top of her feet, like a piece of jewelry, it looks like.
Okay.
But she's mostly always barefoot. And I've met people like that like to be connected to the earth and that kind of thing. Maybe she's a strange actress. It's certainly a strange person to put in that role. She's one of the individuals that has a super long life, and they bring her back to be the commanding officer of the Starfleet Academy. And Starfleet Academy is a ship that lands in San Francisco, and there's already a military academy in the Starfleet name, and the two of them join forces, and there's interactions between the two of them. Okay, so in that series, they've done a couple things okay. One of them is that there's a couple of cameos, if you will.
Okay.
There's an original series show where there is a smart bomb that they have to outsmart. It floats around the ship. It looks kind of like a football with feet.
Okay.
And it floats around the ship, and eventually they outsmart it. In Lower Decks, this same character, football feet guy character, is floating around in the background, and they have a nickname for him. I can't remember exactly what his nickname is or whatever, but they're always kind of joking around about him. And he's supposed to be this world-ending device, but they've tamed him, if you will.
He's Hector.
Yep. He shows up in Starfleet Academy. So he's attending the academy. In addition to him, or it, there is a character in Prodigy. It's funny because when you first see the characters in Prodigy, she looks like the Thing. She's made of stone, but she's mobile. And when you first meet her, they have trouble talking to each other because there's no translator available, so that they can't talk to each other. So they have trouble talking to each other.
Okay.
So partway through the show that we're talking about Prodigy right now. A couple of episodes into the show, you finally get to hear her voice, and she's a little kid.
Oh.
She's giant. I mean, a big, huge physical body, but she's a little child,
Okay.
And her name is Rocktank, Roktahk. She is also at the Starfleet Academy, which I thought was funny. I mean, it was a cute little thing to see these characters in the background of one of the scenes at the Starfleet Academy. And we also have a couple more friends at the Starfleet Academy. One of them you meet in the original episode.
Okay.
The Doctor.
Oh.
The Doctor, as a hologram, as himself, is in Starfleet Academy. Now, I didn't mention this before, but Starfleet Academy is after the burn, after Discovery.
Okay.
After they've cured the problem with the dilithium crystals.
After the Discovery in the future.
Discovery in the future. Yep. This is the Discovery in the Future's universe.
Okay.
And they are trying to establish a new academy and a new Starfleet. I was going to get really excited when I was watching this.
Okay.
Because I started watching episode 5. And I thought to myself, oh my gosh, Jeff is going to love this.
Okay. Why?
Well, episode 5, I'm going to give it away. Nobody cares.
No.
One of the characters that's going to Starfleet Academy is a hologram.
All right.
She is from a holographic planet, or planet where there's only holograms. And she is the ambassador. And she decides in episode 5 that in order for her to do her job properly and report back to her people, she needs to understand what it means to be an ambassador.
Okay.
That should give you all the clues you need. So she is then trying to hunt down, where is Cisco?
Oh, yes. Right.
She wants to know where Cisco is because he's the ultimate ambassador, and she wants to make sure that she does the same kind of job that Cisco did as an ambassador.
Right.
So, and they make a big deal about solving the mystery of what happened to Cisco. And I thought, oh man, are they going to do it? Are they going to do it? I mean, that would be so cool. They didn't do it.
They didn't do it.
Don't want to pop your bubble, but
No.
I mean, they could have. There was no reason why they wouldn't, unless they didn't want to bespoil the whole series. But you do meet his son in a holographic form, and then you meet another cameo. And guess who else is at the Starfleet Academy?
Who else?
Dax.
Really? Dax is there.
Dax is there.
Who is Dax in?
Another Trill, but I don't remember her character's name. So she is there as a teacher. So they're desperately trying to attach meaning and significance to the Academy. And when I say desperately, that's really the way I feel. I know, you've never heard me say anything negative about a Star Trek episode, but
No.
now you've heard me say many things negative about Star Trek episodes.
Yes. However,
Mm-hmm.
I understand all of your things, but if you want to tie this again to Hitchhikers somehow,
Yes, I do.
the 3 books, or 4 books, or 5 books, all contradict each other.
Oh, yeah.
And Douglas has said each book is in its own universe.
Correct.
And since that came right out of his mouth, even though when you read them, they all seem to be in the same universe, they're not because of the contradictions.
Right.
So that same principle can, like you mentioned earlier, be attributed to every different Star Trek series. So it's Starfleet Academy is in a different universe. Picard, different universe.
Right.
Discovery, different universe.
Right.
So it would be nice to have it all in one universe, but I don't know if there's a person alive that could keep everything straight enough to not do it.
And it would really be hamstrung. You wouldn't be able to do the things that Discovery was able to do. I mean, you can't keep making social commentary if you're not allowed to expand, the iconic brand. Because, as I said, if you lived within the icon of the original series, women could never advance.
Right.
Or if they did, you'd have to do it gradually.
And in reality,
Mm-hmm.
Star Trek the original series
Mm-hmm.
and Star Trek Discovery were written in different universes.
They were.
So, and you can't make social commentary unless you can make commentary about what's happening today.
Right.
So, what's happening today or in 2017 when Discovery versus 1969, the ending of Star Trek, that there you can't even compare.
Right. 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 But let me just kind of wrap a couple of things up I wanted to quickly talk about. So, the original series, when I went back and watched it, I didn't really think about it until I did rewatch it. Every other episode, they're meeting a god.
Oh,
now,
right.
And granted, I did find it interesting that not only are they meeting a god, most of the gods they meet, in fact, all of the gods they meet, are male.
Oh.
They do have female goddesses, but none with the power of the male god.
Right.
Okay? And I always thought that was funny because I really didn't think about it that much. In the Gorn episode, the god creatures that are forcing Captain Kirk to fight the Gorn decides that the Gorn should not be allowed to continue to live and can make the decision to eliminate them. In Discovery and Strange New Worlds, the Gorn are a completely different type of evil.
Mm-hmm.
And the Gorn are quite devastating to the universe, but they're not the same rubberized guy
Right.
that you see in the original series. So they are outside of the same universe. But one thing that always bothered me, and I still to this day have a little bit of a trepidation about it, is because Next Generation starts off with them meeting a god, Q.
Mm-hmm.
Q has never been one of my favorite characters. Q has shown up everywhere. Q has been everywhere. Q is all that Picard is about. So, it's not my favorite aspect of the timeline or of the storylines. Because the Q characters can do whatever the hell they want.
Yeah.
Obviously, if you have that much power, that much authority, why mess around with humanity?
Yeah. One guy.
And that's what Picard's about. So it wasn't my favorite apple to polish.
No.
I mean, I liked parts of it. I certainly liked the Jerry Ryan parts and other aspects of Picard that I enjoyed, but it's not among my favorite parts of Star Trek.
No, it's probably the one that I looked forward to watching the most.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was kind of a disappointment. Like you said, it had its moments, but overall, it just kind of blah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then they start trying to throw Easter eggs in of where things came from and different names, and that irks me for different reasons. And then you've got one guy in the last season who's being... Picard is an admiral, retired, comes onto his ship and tries to take it over to get him to save the world and put his entire ship and crew in jeopardy. And they make a joke about they do this all the time and everybody dies all around them, but somehow they escape. And, they're just like, let's rub their shit. I mean, and then of course this guy dies at the end and they're all okay. That's that poking fun at themselves in that respect bothered me. Because it wasn't parody. It was just going right along with the story. But I don't know. Mm-hmm. They couldn't acknowledge that what they were doing was damaging. But they're going to do it anyway.
Right. So, Star Trek. That's a lot of TV. I mean, we're talking 1966 all the way through to new releases coming up shortly.
Yes.
I know that I will eventually continue to watch the Starfleet Academy, but watching Holly Hunter flop around on the couch in her bare feet is just a little off-putting. They're trying to be too serious and too jokey at the same time. I don't know how to describe it. You'll see it when you see it. I am definitely looking forward to seeing more Lower Decks. I hope they keep up with the standard of goofiness and good TV that they've been doing. And even New Worlds is good television. So I'm definitely enjoying that as well. So that's Star Trek. That's fans and fanatics like myself. What do you think, Jeff?
What do I think?
Mm-hmm.
What the hell kind of question is that?
Let me try a different one.
At the end of that.
Should I throw you a new one?
For an hour, you have talked about all of Star Trek, and then you give me a, what do you think?
Well, I'm trying to get something. Let me try something else. Okay, Jeff. So I know I've had the opportunity to watch all of these shows because I have Paramount. And the reason I have Paramount is so that I can watch all of these shows.
Right. Yes.
And I know you haven't had a chance to see all of them. In all this discussion, do you have a favorite or an idea or what you might like to see or watch?
I'm going to skip all past the original ones, and I'm going to start with Discovery.
Mm-hmm.
Of what I have seen of Discovery, and it hasn't been all of it, I have enjoyed.
Yes.
I did have problems with their technology being superior to the Enterprise before the Enterprise existed. So
right.
Then they tried to cover it up with a bunch of, it's been a secret.
Mm-hmm,
and nobody believes that you could keep that kind of a secret.
Right.
So I hate if a show succumbs to their press and their fans if they have a vision, and they did because they jumped them to the future. I don't know if that was originally planned.
I can't imagine that it was. I think it was a response to the overwhelming upsetness of the client.
Yes. So
they were pitching it to.
If we're going to be able to continue this show, the only way we can do it is if we jump them to the future. And I had no problem with it. It needed to be done.
Right.
It should have started out there.
Right.
But that's Discovery.
Mm-hmm.
Never saw any of the short treks, which I believe are all just, like you said, Easter eggs, 10-minute videos on YouTube.
Yep.
Type of thing. I've seen all of Picard. Would I rather it didn't exist? No. I watched it. I enjoyed it. It wasn't my favorite Star Trek of all time. There's the stuff with Q. Why is this one god concentrating so much on this one simple human being? And then he's losing his powers. There was all of that.
Right.
There's this Data has a daughter thing, which was very weird at the beginning. Then the thing that pissed me off the most was that they go back in time to find the Whoopi Goldberg character, and they find she's running a bar, and its address is on Forward Street, number 10. So where they wanted that to be a really cool Easter egg type of a thing,
just pissed you off.
It doesn't if you think about it.
Right.
Like it's one of those. There's no way that wouldn't have been mentioned in the show.
Right.
So why did you call your bar 10 Forward? Everybody expected 10th deck forward, and that's
exactly.
It's a ship area designation, not the name. Like, she got to name her bar 10 Forward, and nobody ever said, why are you calling this 10 Forward? Like, never been a question. So where I get the joke, it just ends up one of those, the more you think about it, the more it upsets me. Lower Decks, yes, I will say it is a genius show that can only be appreciated in full by somebody who has watched every single episode of Star Trek multiple times. Every single episode of every single Star Trek.
Yeah, exactly.
Multiple times. Because all of it will just go over your head.
Right.
And it'll just be, I don't understand what this show is about. Why do people love it so much? Again, never seen a single episode of Prodigy. I heard of it. I believe, like you said, aimed for kids. Nothing. Strange New Worlds. I have seen a couple seasons of that. I haven't seen all of it. The stuff I've seen, I have enjoyed. That one, to me, felt the way you feel about Starfleet Academy, with they're taking themselves too seriously. There's there's an air of this show that makes me think that they think they're better than all the other shows. And I don't know if it's just the Pike character or what. However, the casting of Pike, holy shit, that is the best casting in the world.
Yep.
I have never seen Starfleet Academy, but now that I know I'm going to get to see Holly Hunter's bare feet, I'm going to look for it.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's something. You know, I guess I'll continue to watch it. I really thought that I would have more of a feeling.
I have a question about Starfleet Academy, because when I read the title without ever seeing any episode, what I think is, oh, this is the Star Trek version of high school drama.
Ugh, yep. You hit it. That's it.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Is this the Vampire Diaries of Star Trek world?
Yeah, yep, exactly. Yep.
Every high school drama, we all know what they are.
It's college level, but yeah, you've nailed it.
Relationship woes and backstabbing and cliques.
And I never even thought of it that way until you brought it up, but that's exactly what it is. The only way that those types of shows really have a real impact is if you get drawn into the characters.
Right.
And you have feelings about them and for them. So far, they're far too superficial and meaningless for us to feel that way. Holly Hunter is a good actress. I'm not saying she's not, but they're really playing up the quirkiness, which is fine. But all the other characters so far are one-dimensional, and that doesn't appeal to me. It wouldn't appeal to you either. I mean, I know you. That's what you like more about Deep Space Nine than anything else. It was the character arcs and the way they changed over time. We're not seeing any of that. I mean, I really thought this episode 5 had the opportunity for them to step up and step out. I was excited about the concept as it started to develop, but in execution, it was just a lame excuse to get another cameo in.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That's sad. When the whole episode is written just so they could bring in a cameo character from another show, and that's all they're doing. Like Monster of the Week. Like, what character are we going to bring in this time? All right. But I would love to say this has inspired me to spend the money and get Paramount Plus so I could sit down and watch 3,000 hours of Star Trek. However, I have enough stuff that I'm watching right now that I would never be able to fit it in. Someday I might get some stuff.
No, you're absolutely right. I mean, when I started this adventure of watching all the shows, I had no idea. But since we moved into our new house here, it's been over a year. And for at least that much time, I've been able to sit down in the morning and watch 2 episodes of Star Trek every single day. So, I mean, there are so many and so much TV to watch with Star Trek as a background that it could take more than I anticipated. Certainly taking a lot longer than I thought. But anyway, that's our deep dive into Star Trek. And I'm sure that I could go on and on.
Yes. And did you answer the question, would you rather it didn't exist?
The answer to that is no, I would not rather that it didn't exist. And some of my trepidation has only been recently. And that's interesting to me. The fact that Star Trek Academy has no appeal or draw is really unique in the Star Trek world for me. So I'm wondering, is it the death of Star Trek? Maybe.
Oh, I don't know. Oh, and here's a thought that went through my head, and I wanted, because of the different universes that these shows were written in. So if you take out the Next Generation, Deep Space, Voyager, and Enterprise, remove them, because they're in between. They're too close to both.
Right.
But if you decided that you were going to start watching Star Trek, and you started with Discovery, and just watched all of that, and then decided you wanted to go back and watch the original show that you've never seen, would it be better to watch that as if it was fan fiction?
Yeah, it probably would be. I mean,
with the quality of the productions and the costumes and the campiness and all of that. So,
I mean, you meet Liberace and you meet,
yeah,
you know, you meet Abraham Lincoln and, I mean, it just can't be fun. And for that, I really enjoyed it. And I just don't know what to say. Yeah, I mean, I've been a fan. I'll remain a fan. Like I said, and now we have to wait a year and a half or whatever for Lower Decks, and we do have some more Strange New Worlds coming up, but I'm looking forward to it still.
Right. So, the Starfleet Academy might not be the death of Star Trek then.
That's a possibility.
Lower Decks will come out after that. Strange New Worlds might go by it, and they may come out with another show, just Q, just for you.
Oh, yeah. They made some small attempt, but Section 31, that had some real appeal, and it has an opportunity, I think. If they don't stay focused on one individual, there's something there that could be explored. And it could be a darker part of the Star Trek world than we're used to. I always thought that there was a place that they could go if they really wanted to.
Did you see the movie?
I didn't see the movie.
Because I've not seen it yet. I have not seen Star Trek Section 31, the movie.
So I'll probably check it out. Like I said, I know that I liked the characters that we saw in those episodes. And I think that there's an opportunity to develop that. And there's certainly some areas in the darker side that they could go to.
Yes.
I don't know. It's funny because the Academy goes out so far into the future that it's like the bracket on the other end. You know, if you go from one bracket to the other bracket and you have to stay within those lines, then you have only so much that you can do unless you go to another universe. And frankly, I've always felt that some of the best Star Trek episodes have been the Dark Mirror episodes, you know, the alternate universe episodes. Although I have to say, that was one thing that really annoyed me about Deep Space Nine. I did not like how they bounced back and forth in the Dark universe or the Mirror universe in Deep Space Nine. Talk about campy.
Yeah.
You know? And I think we've said that before, or I've said that before. The Deep Space Nine's final season was excellent. Excellent.
Yes.
All good things, man. Well, Jeff, I think we've reached the end of Star Trek.
Okay. It will never end.
It'll never end. But what's next for us?
Well, normally we do a year-end, season-end review in October.
Right.
However,
Yep.
our September episode will be episode number 100.
100? Oh, my God.
So it's just going to be a reflection back on everything that we have done, what we've liked, I guess what we haven't liked, what we thought we could do better, what worked better than we expected, and have some fun talking about past episodes and some of the reactions we got to them.
Oh, man, I can't wait. 100 episodes. Oh, man, when we started talking about our friend Douglas Adams, I really didn't think we had more to say.
I didn't know.
But I know that even in our previous episode, we discussed areas where we haven't gone.
Yes.
But there's so much more to talk about, and I'm looking forward to future conversations. But I'm really looking forward to the 100th episode. In fact, I think I'll bake a cake.
You're going to bake a cake?
Yep, I'm going to make a cake.
And are you going to bring it when you come out in August?
Oh, you bet. You betcha.
Are you coming out in August?
Oh, yeah, I'm hoping to.
Yes, I know hoping to. I'm just wondering where on the scale of hoping to the reality is.
Yeah. Oh, I think we have to discuss that.
Yes. And now that we know what's happening next, I guess I have to say that this is the end. Thank you for listening to this. A new episode is released on the first Thursday of every month. Visit our website at digitalwatchesareaprettyneatidea.buzzsprout.com. While there, you can find links to all of my Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy inspired t-shirt designs. You can contact us via email at digitalwatchespodcast@gmail.com. You can find us on YouTube and Facebook at Digital Watches Are a Pretty Neat Idea. You can message us on Twitter, or should I say X, at Watches Idea, and our Instagram is Watches Idea Podcast.
This has been a Froods for Thought production, darling. This has been a Froods for Thought production, darling. This has been a Froods for Thought production, darling. This has been a Froods for Thought production, darling. This has been a Froods for Thought production, darling.